last night, this time to confirm President Trump's pick to run the Department of Health and Human Services. That is Congressman, soon-to-be former Congressman, Tom Price. Price now will be the point man on repealing, replacing, or repairing, if you want to choose that word. It's been around a lot this week, Obamacare. That solution is currently MIA, or a work in progress, depending on whom you ask. But constituents back home in districts across the country, listen in. They're fed up. They want to know what's going to happen. There are the pictures right there of the President and Prime Minister Abe in the Oval Office. And again, that's a much calmer scene than what we just saw. That's quite peaceful. Yeah. Jason Chaffetz is thinking, can I be in that room? That looks kind of nice. It's comfortable. What we were just looking at, though, the pictures of Jason Chaffetz's home last night in Utah. He has a conservative district, but he also has, part of this is organization and people showing up at town halls, much as we saw in the Tea Party days. Conservatives showing up at Democratic town halls and at Republican town halls as well. And I guess that's my question. How much of this is organization and how much of this is pure outrage, anxiety, questions, demand, and can the progressive groups, let's call them that, sustain it?
Well, I think that in order for organization to work, you have to have true angst and anxiety behind that. Yeah. So it may be a combination of the two. I do think it helps to have somebody corralling you. I think the thing that's really interesting here is that the positions in Washington have really fully flip-flopped. Yeah. Right. And you have Democrats now in a position of, is an opposition party trying to stop something. It's always easier to be a critic than it is to try to advance an agenda. And, we saw Republicans do a pretty good job of stopping things in recent years here in Washington. And I think that now you're seeing Democrats trying to organize themselves both as much as they can in the Senate and out in the field. They're out there trying to make noise. So I think it's important.
It's important. And if you think, we just showed you the Jason Chaffetz video, if you think, okay, that's just one congressman, there are 435 of them, what's the big deal? We also had crew last night in Tennessee, Congresswoman Diane Black back home. Look.
I have to have coverage in order to make sure that I don't die. There are people who have cancer that have that coverage, that have to have that coverage to make sure they don't die. And you want to take away this coverage and have nothing to replace it with. So how can I trust you to do anything that's in our interest at all?
If you think of the combination of what we just see, you see a rowdy crowd at one town hall. You see a very pointed, personal, this is about my life question at another town hall. This is the kind of thing that the Republicans will say, these are plants, the Democratic groups are putting in our town halls, but especially when you get a personal story like that will get the attention of a member of Congress who will come back and say, Mr. Speaker, we need a plan.
I remember in 2009, as Obamacare was making its way through the system, and there were protests against that, especially in August of 2009, a lot of Democrats saying, oh, this is just Koch brothers funded AstroTurf, and maybe it was. There's always money involved in this, but you can't spend money.
But 2010 and 2014 happened.
Exactly. Exactly. It's always a mixture of big money and grassroots support, and a lot of Democrats didn't see that coming. They dismissed it as fake AstroTurf organizing. But I think what you're seeing both with the court, part of our last conversation, and with the public starting to step up, you're starting to see our system working. You're starting to see institutional restraints. When one branch of government or one part of our country gets too powerful, you start to see other things kick in.
And so does this, and Speaker Ryan has asked for better security as the members go home now because they're anticipating this at the town halls. Does it, there's a lot of conflict now in the Republican Party about what to do. They want to repeal, they're unified there, but the replacement part is really hard. The president has frustrated conservatives because he has made a list of things he wants in a bill that happen to be the most popular and the most expensive parts of Obamacare. And so they don't have a plan right now, and there's some people say we'll try to do it this year, other people say it could spill over to next year. I assume with these kind of protests, there will be pressure on the Speaker and Majority Leader McConnell to figure this out fast.
Well, and look at where these are happening, too. I mean, these are in two very conservative districts. Diane Black and Jason Chaffetz have won repeatedly by 70% or more. I mean, they are in the safest of seats, and they are seeing this kind of atmosphere at their town hall meetings. So I think it's an indication not only of the organization, but of the potency of some of the arguments against taking away something. You know, it's a lot easier to make that argument, as Laura was saying, than it is to make.
And the thing that Republicans are learning is that healthcare policy is complicated. It's very complicated. You cannot just give people the popular parts and not the unpopular parts. You don't. It all fits together. So if you want to cover people with pre-existing conditions, somebody has to pay for that. Under Obamacare, the way that works is that we try to force healthy people into the system, so their premiums cross-subsidize other people's premiums. Well, if you want to take that mandate away, you got to replace it with something else. So that's what they're finding is it's very easy to say repeal and replace, and we've been hearing that for years and years now. And frankly, I don't have a lot of sympathy for Republicans on this. They've been promising a replacement, and they've never coalesced around one. So it's now it's time.
But their conferences, both in the House and Senate, especially in the House, though, are split into so many factions. You have free market guys who say, get the government out of here, leave it up to the market. You have the more moderates who say, we better keep these popular parts of Obamacare, or we'll get wiped out in our districts. So it's a complicated debate. I bet the protests increase the urgency, though. We've got to move on. Everybody sit tight. Next, that